welcome to Tales of Honor Podcast, a podcast dedicated to telling the true stories of every recipient of the Medal of Honor. Hello, everyone, and welcome to an episode of Tales of Honor Podcast. I'm your host, Christoph Ambrosch, and today's episode is episode number 351. Before we get into today's story, we have two birthdays that we need to go over, and they took place yesterday on the 17th of October. First up is Gary Rose, former captain in the U.S. Army who received his Medal of Honor for his actions during the Vietnam War. He turned 73 years old. October 17th, 1947 was his birthday. I did cover his story back on episode number 207, so I will make sure there is a link in the show notes so that you can listen to more of Gary's story. And moving on to the second and final birthday for today was also yesterday, 17th of October, 1989. William Kyle Carpenter, better known as just Kyle Carpenter, was born. He is the youngest living Medal of Honor recipient. He is a former corporal from the U.S. Marine Corps who received his Medal of Honor for his actions during the war in Afghanistan. He turned 31 years old, so a very happy birthday to Kyle Carpenter. I also covered his story early on in the podcast. I covered it on episode number 26, so I'll make sure there's a link in the show notes for his story as well that you can go ahead and listen to. That's all I have for birthdays today. Looks like there's only two more birthdays for the rest of the month that we'll go over when the time comes. So that's all I got for today. Let's move into another Tale of Honor. Today's episode number 351. George was born on the 28th of February, 1880 in Stamford, Connecticut, where he would later enlist in the U.S. Navy. He served on board the USS Newark as a seaman, which then deployed to China in support of the Boxer Rebellion in 1900 and was a flagship for the assistant commander of the Asiatic Station. George volunteered for land operations in May and June, but it was his actions in June that would earn him the Medal of Honor. The citation reads, "In the presence of the enemy during the battles at Peking, China, 13, 20, 21, and 22 June 1900. Throughout this period, Rose distinguished himself by meritorious conduct. While stationed as a crew member of the USS Newark, he was part of its landing force that went ashore off Taku, China, on 31 May 1900. He was in a party of 6 under John McCloy, Medal of Honor, which took ammunition from the Newark to Tientsin. On 10 June 1900, he was one of a party that carried dispatches from Lhasa to Yeongsum at night. On the 13th, he was one of a few who fought off a large force of the enemy, saving the main baggage train from destruction. On the 20th and 21st, he was engaged in heavy fighting against the Imperial Army, being always in the first rank. On the 22nd, he showed gallantry in the capture of the Siku Arsenal. He volunteered to go to the nearby village, which was occupied by the enemy, to secure medical supplies urgently required. The party brought back the supplies carried by newly taken prisoners. George received his Medal of Honor on the 19th of July, 1901, and later received a commission as an ensign in the Naval Reserve on the 22nd of March, 1917. He went on to serve in World War I with the 3rd Naval District and received a promotion to lieutenant junior grade on the 21st of September, 1918. 11 years later, George would be promoted to lieutenant commander in the Merchant Marine Naval Reserve. George Harry Rose died on the 7th of December, 1932, at the age of 52, and he is buried with his wife, Ava, in Arlington National Cemetery, Section 7, Lot 9978-ES. And that was a Tale of Honor. Thank you for listening to Tales of Honor Podcast. Head on over to talesofhonorpodcast.com where you can read these stories, see other ways to support the show, and easily share a story with your friends and family. Tales of Honor Podcast is written and produced by Christoph Ambrosch, and theme song, A New Beginning, is by Ben Sound. If you have any questions or comments, you can send them to talesofhonorpodcast@gmail.com. And until next time, I'm Christoph Ambrosch. Thanks for listening.